Today we're going to be talking about content marketing. Just a quick raise of hands. How many of you have been doing marketing exercises, whether it's either your job or something as part of your business for a long time? Or something you're looking into? Yep. Alright, perfect. This will give me a little bit of insight as to which areas to focus on, usually. So today, we're going to go as much detailed as I can. Obviously, I can't fit the entire content marketing exercise, but give you guys a bit of an insight of who I am. Born and raised in Hong Kong, worked in multiple agencies throughout for about 10, 12 years before starting my first company, which is BSD Code and Design Academy, and then kickstarting Path 39 with Maisie, Robbie, and Tony. Thank you. He just joined. Today is the first day I've met him. Basically, feel free to reach out to me personally as well. You have my LinkedIn right there. So send me a message anytime. One of the key things that I want to talk about today before we start is what exactly is content marketing. A lot of people see this a little bit miscued because they end up seeing content marketing as, what is the best way I can promote my business on social media or on email marketing, hell, even in terms of print. Print is also considered content marketing. So one of the key difference points that you need to understand is there's a lot more to it. It's not a journalistic approach. Having worked in publishing for a couple of years, one of the biggest mistakes I've had to experience myself, as well as see others do it, is people try to express everything in very detailed, with more complicated words. Remember, the world is not as smart as you think it is. You gotta dumb down your content sometimes. So part of that is the first point. It's keyword research. We're gonna deep dive into several of these topics as much as I can, but keyword research really involves finding out with your audience and your persona that you're going after, what kind of things are they searching for? What kind of things are they typing? Now, obviously you can't stop and stare at someone typing in stuff, but you can get a lot of insight into what is the global market looking at. We'll see tools that will help you do that today as well. Then we're going to do content research. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but sometimes they tell you content is king, right? This is a very popular thing to have in these talks. But here's the thing. How do you write your own? You can't write every single day. As a business owner myself, being told, you got to post every single day, twice. I don't have time. I just genuinely don't have time to do all that stuff. So one of the other things is when you research content, you're researching not just your competitors, but also your industry. I'm going to show you guys how to widen your scope a little bit and bring it back to your business. That's one of the key skills you're going to learn today. And then, how do you actually write it? There's a typo here, I apologize. But how do you actually write your content? We're going to break your content apart and give you little pieces as to, for example, a call to action. Every time you see this, click here now. And about 5 years ago, everyone started saying, stop using click here now. It's self-explanatory. It's not. That's the reality of it. Having done marketing for over 17 to 20 companies in the last couple of weeks myself, every single time you have click here, engagement rates goes up. And that's one of the things I'll show you with live examples today. We have a brand that I'm happy to even share the insights of in real time. So we'll be showing you real data today as well to see why it works. Graphic design. Now, graphic design is a component where you can cheat a lot. I'm going to show you guys a little tool if you don't already know it called Canva, which helps you a lot. And you don't have to be a Photoshop or Illustrator expert for this, but also to understand what exactly are you going to create. A lot of people go, infographics. You can't infographic a law firm that easily, right? So how do you deal with that? So we're going to deep dive a little bit there, and then the promotion. How do you push it out? Where do you push it out? What channels do you use? Not all the channels are covered here today, but I will talk about them as well. So feel free to bombard me with your questions at any time. So to kickstart that, there is a process I use. I'm going to share that with you today. It helps when you're going, I've got all this marketing stuff I've heard about. How do I get started? So I've broken it down into several processes. The first thing you need to realize in digital marketing as well as organic marketing, the two different words here are free, which is our favorite word, and then the paid one, Digital marketing in terms of ads, ad management or ad marketing involves you paying Facebook or Google per click or per 1,000 times your ad is shown. That's a very important strategy to understand here. You're going to use it, but not always. If you're a startup, especially with a limited budget, I'm going to show you how to use that a little bit towards the end. This is out of the deck. I'll give you a real life demo on how to do that. But the setting objectives component is an important piece to understand what campaign is doing what. Normally, have any of you done Facebook ads or Google ads before? Yep. If you have, notice one thing. Don't set up one campaign and say you've done it. A normal marketing strategy starts with 2 campaigns at least. And I'm going to show you exactly why in that section. Customer profiling. Your customers are not everybody. And for the love of God, do not tell anyone that. I've been through experiences where I've been told, my customers are everybody, anyone who likes water, for example. No, they don't. Because there's 100,000 examples of water. So how do you exactly profile your audience? Different water, for example, attracts different people. I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to write content, which I already explained, and then distribute it. The review process is something many people get wrong. I'm going to show you what to look for when things are working and what to look for when it's not. Today is a live demo on that last part, so you might see things that I've messed up in, and I'm going to be honest about them. So you're going to get to see that. So the first thing is goals. Now, when you set up goals, one of the key things you need to look for is if you're an e-commerce store or a product store or a service. A lot of people with services have a problem here is, I'm not doing online sales, but you are. For example, I mentioned law firm earlier. Law firms are very notoriously difficult to work with in digital marketing because you have about that big of a book of things you can't do online. So one of the things to drive online sales is lead generation. Now, note that keyword that I used. Lead generation is also the same word that's going to kill your budget. Because on Facebook, on Google, they will use the words like lead generation to go, yeah, I need lead generation. Click. You're going to spend way more money. Understand what lead generation means. It's basically your website is the core of all your marketing activities online. No matter if you are a small startup or just a simple service and you're testing the market. Your basic website. Now your website is the one page that everyone goes to. How many of you have done ads or any posting that have redirected them to the homepage of your website? Stop doing that now. Because the homepage of your website is possibly the most useless page on your marketing. It's the, I saw you on a business card and I'm going to type it in. That's your direct traffic. But aside from those people, a lot of your online traffic is going to come to different pages. These are called landing pages, and I'll show that later. But that's the driving online sales. You're selling a new product or new service that could be replaced with service. Also local sales. There's a difference between international sales and local sales. All your content marketing, if you're targeting a Hong Kong market, for example, you need to understand the Hong Kong market and the international market type very different keywords, and it costs you differently, especially when you go into advertising to go back into organic. What I mean by that is, if you're increasing sales, let's say your goal is I need to increase sales revenue by 6x. What that means in local sales is you're going to start creating a physical media outlet, a campaign that focuses on Hong Kong, for example. If you're an online store or service, this basically will work for you in different locations. Localize your content as much as you can. I'm going to show you examples of this when we do the content creation part. But the question really here is, how do you localize content for Hong Kong? It doesn't mean make it Chinese. Not necessarily. That's not enough sometimes. Yes, you may have a Chinese audience that reads and writes Chinese. And one myth I'm going to bust right now. Do not write English and Chinese in the same post. On every social media channel, any social media channel. Email marketing, totally fine. Website, have a language switcher. But on Facebook posts, stop dumping them together. I work with the Jockey Club, and they do that for like 2 years. And they're like, no one really engages with our content. No shit. Because the Chinese audience is seeing the English component and disengaging. The English audience is seeing the Chinese content and disengaging. So it makes it very difficult. So what you want to do there is split it apart. How many of you have apps? Anyone has apps? Yeah? Should I just skip it today then? Okay, I'm going to skip this part today. But if you need something for promoting your app, it's a slightly different strategy. Basically put, the content creation is going to take them to a different landing experience. It could be the Play Store or the App Store. Very different marketing strategy there. But I'll cover it. If you have questions on it, just ask me. Brand awareness. How many of you are starting a company that's very new? Like maybe under 1 year? One? Few of you? Okay, this is home for you. The biggest benchmark that you'll go for is, here's what not to do. Likes mean nothing for your social media content. Likes mean nothing overall. It's all about engagement. That's why you're writing content. The key to content creation is measured through how many people, yes, liked your post, but more importantly, commented and shared. If you haven't read the news for January for Facebook, for example, Facebook already has changed the algorithm to promote content that has more people posting the comments on. And the one thing we do, we cheat totally. In our office, we sit there and go, hey, we posted something, everyone leave a comment, start a conversation. It works. It genuinely works because as soon as you start conversations, their friends see it and the ripple effect begins. That's the key of the goal when it comes to brand awareness. So the other thing I want to point out here is when you're setting your goals, please give yourself a timeline. The maximum timeline you can set per campaign on any content calendar or content creation calendar is 3 months. That's what I've seen over 5-6 years of doing this aggressively. It's 3 months is the maximum you can plan for. And then you got to measure every month, minimum. If you can measure every 2 weeks, is better. Do not measure your content below 2 weeks. That's an important note for you to know. So, it's great goals setting. You're going to go back later to the office and go, I don't know what my goal is. That can happen, right? So here's some to take you off the ground. Raise brand awareness. How do you actually raise brand awareness through content? Basically, you are not raising brand awareness by promoting your brand. You're promoting your mission, your philosophy. That's a nice hack to start. In short, let's say we have a brand called ISCO that our team is working with, and they are basically healthy goods. They curate goods from all around the world, and they said, okay, we need marketing. First thing we did for them is to stop posting about ISCO, because no one cares. No one knows ISCO, so no one cares. So we started posting about the environment, because everything is environmentally friendly, and if you guys haven't noticed, the whole Hong Kong is health crazy right now, right? Take advantage. The one thing about marketing, which is really awkward to say out loud, especially in front of an audience, is you start generalizing people, right? When you generalize people in buckets, you're starting to do the audience segment, which I'm going to cover next. But brand awareness is people understand the mission, the philosophy you're going after. For example, a tough curveball for us was I had a company that was doing meat, like fresh meat delivery in Hong Kong. And she basically started from ground zero because she had a falling out with a partner and built this whole new company. And then she had to raise brand awareness. So one thing I noticed about her brand was people know her. Hong Kong's a small place. Now the hardest thing for founders to do, especially if any of you are founders yourself of your own company, is put your face online. That's scary. So what you need to do is realize that all social content, all content, anywhere, engages the most when there's human beings in there. Fact, tested with every industry. Every single industry I could touch, human beings involved in the content, the picture taken hopefully. Not the easiest to convince if you're working with someone that goes, I'm never showing my face online. But if that's the case, show other people's faces. It works. So brand awareness, your target really is more people driving to your website, for example. If any of you are starting up a company where you're like, we don't even have a website yet, drive them traffic to your Facebook page at least. So you're marketing on Facebook, on Google, for Facebook. That can work as well. But website's going to be your core. That's your number one priority. Every call to action goes to your website, but not necessarily your homepage. That's the one thing. I'll give you a real life example here. I go to a gym. It doesn't look like it, but I do. I'm going to type in personal training Hong Kong. Now, here's what happened. This is the gym I go to. And these are two other gyms that are advertising for the same thing. I don't care about that. That's not what my content is there for. The content that you're doing all of the traffic for starts here. Now, here's a fun bit. They're far away from the homepage right now when you type in personal training. So what is their strategy as of this month? Is they're going to start writing content with the keywords personal training and Hong Kong next to it. Why Hong Kong? I never typed Hong Kong. But if you haven't noticed, Google already knows you're in Hong Kong. Whether you're anonymous or not, they know your location. So they serve you traffic that's local first. So if I do this search in, say, UK, my results are totally different, right? So one of the key things here is, and this is one of the easiest tricks, people love lists. I know you guys hate it, but you still click on it, right? Like, here's 10 things, and you're like, shit, I'm gonna click next. But I need to know now, so I'm gonna click next, next, next. It works every single time. Look at Tatler, look at Sassy. Everyone's doing it. I'll give you an example of my first company, which was, I started 5 years ago. And it was, if I type in my company's name, not on video, not beauty school dropouts, that's not what I did. Sassy's article from 2014 is still showing up on the first page. Why? Because it's content, it mentions me on the title of the content. Mentions me all over the text. Now you're starting to see what keywords are doing. Notice no one ever will type your company's name. No one knows your company's name. So why would they type it? So it's what your company does is the first strategy you always go after. In Raw's case, it was personal training. And then we started doing different angles, like injury prevention. Totally different angle. But think about it, when you injure yourself, what's the thing you type on Google? What's the thing you type on anywhere? For that matter, Google is probably your first bet. If you're using another search engine, works the same way. That's what you're looking for. So just to jump back. Oh, you guys get video for this as well. So if I'm jumping out, don't worry. You'll get the video of it. But the biggest goals of them all. You all want to make money, right? So if you're trying to increase sales and conversions, the number one thing I can give you when it comes to content creation is stop directly selling your product. Always. You need to mix and match. The basic way of doing this is you're going to use two strategies simultaneously. Sales and conversions as a goal means I made this much in this amount of time. Do a 2-week test and repeat that 2-week test until those numbers start going up. Until you get 2 weeks right, don't do a month test. What I mean by that is you're going to start writing content, right? And let's say, as far as I go once a month, a blog post, and twice a day on Instagram, once on Facebook. Once a day on Facebook. And in order to create conversions, I drive traffic to my landing page by basically saying things like, oh, one day I'm talking about this is how the education industry is shaping, or this is how our digital industry is shaping at Path 39. Read all about it. Now when they go into the article, no one ever said you can't put stuff in between the article, right? Notice how all the big blogs are doing it. You're reading one paragraph, a little banner there saying if you want it, click. That's your engagement strategy. You're not just saying go directly to the product in your content. I will explain how organically people will find your content, like I just showed you here, shortly. Expand services. So how many of you have an established business here already? Like you've been running it for a while? If you have, you might notice that bigger companies now are creating mini startups themselves inside them. So, oh, we have this new product, new service. Hell, even if it's a new product line that's coming out in your shop, you're going to start all over from the beginning sometimes, right? But your brand name will elevate it. Sassy is a good example here. They have an authority. Another good example, if you're a tech company, TechCrunch. Everyone dies to get on TechCrunch. Doesn't necessarily mean sales, but it drives your traffic of your website. That's the other strategy. So when you're expanding services, you're not promoting just your new services, you're also promoting why you're going out stretching. So don't say, welcome to our new product line. You're also going to start saying things like, we've decided to expand due to popular demand. There was no demand. I just wrote that down. I got more clicks. And that's the strategy. It's a little bit of a manipulation game, but you'll see that more and more. But how do we know who we're going to write all this for? Before you even start writing a post. If you're just starting and it's super urgent, just post something. Little note, as soon as you reach to this stage, if you're starting your Facebook page, if you're starting your Instagram, do not launch to public until you have at least 10 posts there. In Facebook, you can backdate as well. So make it filled up. Think about the first 100 people. It was literally your family, and in my case, just my family. But once your family and friends go through it, what did they do? They went, they liked your page, that's it, job done. They didn't read anything because there's nothing to read. So fill it up with backdated posts as if you've been alive for about 2 weeks at least. That's 10 posts. All you got to do. What are these 10 posts going to be about? We'll cover that shortly, but who are we going to target? So here's some ideas of how you segment your audience. When you start segmenting your audience, the two most important factors are going to be interests. What are they interested in? And then behaviors. What is behaviors? Behaviors are basically, are they going to hit a landing page? Let's say they see your content, they read it. Are they going to hit it and then go, okay, I'm going to immediately buy? Or are they going to be the type of people, which is majority of people, check with every other website to get the best deal? You research as a customer, right? So if you know they're going to bounce, and this is a key term you'll hear, bounce rate. I'll cover that later. But if they're going to leave your site to begin with, make sure every link that you have opens a new tab. So if you ever click on a link within your website, you can't control what's on Facebook, but you can when you do blogs and so on. Make sure every link you post in there opens a new tab. If you don't know the tech behind it, just come grab me later. I'll show it to you really quickly. Now, you can break down the easiest ones. Age group is the number one thing people target. In Hong Kong, unless you're targeting children directly to play games, majority of the audiences, or maybe you have a program, don't know, but majority of the audiences will target between 25 to 34. That's the hot market on Hong Kong right now. Obviously, if your brand is targeting 60 plus or 45 plus, that's fine. What's good for you there is you're going to spend a hell of a lot less money than everyone else. Marketing. So I have stuff like income. You're not going to know this from the start. So what are you going to do? Guess. Because you're going to have to guess. Don't be afraid to put down what you think. And trust me, 90% of the time you'll be wrong. It will change. That's the whole purpose of the 2-week test. So different people have different personalities. I just leave that in there because people generally go on a blank when they're thinking. So this might inspire you. But here's the interest part that many people don't understand when I say it. It's, let's say for example, I'm targeting the meat company, right? They sell fresh meat. What is the one thing today, as of today, in Hong Kong, if you're selling meat, would you post about? Any guesses? Think about it. Meat online, slightly more expensive, but what is the one thing you would care about in the heat of summer? While you're drinking that cold beer, what would you write right now? A nice barbecued steak. barbecues. People that love barbecues are an audience automatically. It works every single time when you section them. Because think about it. Best barbecue steak in Hong Kong, or best meat to buy when I'm barbecuing. People type full form now. You're going to hit. That's how you capture your audience's attention, not promoting singular terms only. So to help you guys, when you guys do this yourself, this thing helps quite a lot. I gave some typical personas, but think about the technology aspect of it as well. Averagely, over 60% of all industries combined, the mobile traffic is now higher. If your website does not work well on mobile, and I'm not saying yes it works, use it. And then in my case, I just get anyone that's not techie in my life to use it. Because when they get stuck, you know something's wrong. Common problem in all content when it comes to mobile is if you put a photo on your mobile site. If the photo is hitting all the edges of your screen, I can't give you a quick example there, I should have taken a screenshot, but if it hits the edges, note no one has a finger that's 1 millimeter long, thick, right? So what are they going to do? And just for SEO purposes, you'll make that photo a link. Have you ever scrolled through a site and then it just opens a link? And you're like, shit, now I can't even bother to go back. Make your images smaller. People that need to see that image can click on it to enlarge it. Most people won't even bother, unless that click is going to take them to an action like filling in a form or purchasing something. So that's one quick hint there. Now, that's why I do the technology component, because you need to know not every audience you're going to target, and you will have several, are going to be very good at tech. So you need to account for that as well. Now, once you've got all of this information down, then comes the fun part, and that's when you start writing your content. The first component you're going to use, I couldn't fit all the stuff I used to research, so I just gave you a link of a great site from someone else that does it, but I'm going to show you how to use it, which is probably more important. So I gave you guys a link to this because Growth Funnel, which is a pretty interesting site if you read their blog, is they give you little tools that you can start with. Now, generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of using any tool because you started working somewhere or you started a business primarily because you have an idea of where you want to take it. Start with your ideas first and put them into a campaign. This is your second campaign. In a sense that, okay, I'm posting on Monday to Wednesday about things I know about. Thursday, Friday, let's see what the world is talking about and how I can connect back to it. I'm going to show you one example of Google Trends. Google Trends is pretty interesting. Anyone want to do a live example? Just tell me what industry or topic your business is in. Anyone? Baby clothes. Awesome. So, let's have a look. Not in the US. Remember, not in the US. We're very different in Hong Kong. Someone tell the US that. Because whenever you get that automated link, by the way, like, oh, I'm from Hong Kong, so it'll automatically turn to Chinese. Don't do that. People can switch themselves. Never assume. Because the search engines will take care of that. Now look at baby clothes overall. What this is doing for you and how do you use Google Trends is pretty interesting. Over time, notice there's a dip in baby clothes. People haven't stopped buying baby clothes. They just stopped typing the words baby clothes. So could you give me an example of a popular term to describe baby clothes, like maybe one type of baby clothes? I don't know much about baby clothes, to be honest.
Onesies.
Onesies. Okay, cool. Let's compare it. Did I spell that right? Onesies. Is that right? Is that how you spell it? Let me just check. There we go. Okay. I don't spell professionally. So, and that's why I like doing this live, because you can see how a normal person does it. No one's going to be a pro in the first go. Look at onesies. This is in Hong Kong, from Google. And then you keep going with your guesses until you see something that's spiking upwards towards this here. The dotted lines are predictions. The predictions are bullshit. I've tried it, seen it, it just never works. So just note the spikes. That doesn't mean no one's typing onesies. But what if I did onesies with the term baby? Flatline. No one types like that. And that's how you don't use it. Always keep this particular search thing to as less keywords as possible. It's not a great tool for giving you a proper insight. That's why you have a couple more. So I'm going to quickly go back. Oh, time. I'll show you guys one more. So my favorite thing to do whenever I work with any company, especially like things like baby clothes, I search every single competitor and see what they're doing. One thing that you may not know is I can see all your keywords in one shot. All the effort that your competitor put in, take it. Why not? I'm not ethical, it's not unethical, it's public information. So these sites, you pop in a website and it actually starts researching yours. So anyone want to try theirs real time? Don't be shy. Everyone has to change it.
The company area?
The website.
Oh, sleep-hq.com. Oh, sorry.
Oh, -HQ. Sorry. .com. Okay. So here's the one thing I'm going to do as well. You don't usually go to google.com. You can also go to the different countries. There are other websites in that list that also cover google.com.hk, but check it on multiple sites. So what this is going to do now is it's going to go through your website and pump out all your organic keywords, pump out all your ad keywords that it can find. 90% of them will try to upsell to you. Let's see what's happening there. Okay. Don't worry about that.
Do I have to put in keywords?
You don't necessarily put in keywords like you used to before. Like, you know, the meta keywords, they tell you, give us 10 keywords that make sense for your business. If an agency is still doing that, upgrade. Because the content that they're pulling is actually from your page itself. So SEO analysis is another thing I do always. I'll use the magic word free because it helps. Let's pick one. SEO optimizer. That's something I use quite often. It's also on the list, by the way. So let's try this again. sleep-hq.com. Audit. Okay. So while this is loading up, don't worry, it takes time.
It's very new, so.
No worries. That's the perfect time to start breaking it apart and seeing what's going on, what's not. So I want you guys today to just quickly, we have time, so I'll cover in 5 minutes some of the important things when you use this tool to look out for. It's a tool. It's not a person telling you, it's not a consultant. As much as they say it is, it's not. At the end of the day, it's not human. So, yet, enough. So, there is where you start. Okay, so your homepage, when you're writing content, I know this is not an SEO workshop, but I want to give you guys a little bit of insight as to how you start the research. You don't have a meta description. What is a meta description? If I type in Sleep HQ, you notice how you never wrote this, it just pulled it by itself. Right? You can force it to say whatever you want. First thing you guys should all do. But here's the important part. I'm not as much as interested as just your homepage. Because what's the page you want everyone to go to? Services. Okay. Change that, by the way. You see how it says blank 4? That's a bit dark, but blank 4. That should change to services. But let's do this now. Same thing, except test your other pages. Every client of mine in the past that I introduced this to just kept checking their homepage over and over and over again. I'm like, what about your other pages? Because Google, yes, they show when I typed in Sleep HQ, your homepage. But if I'm typing in very particular search terms and I'm really looking for something that you provide, I want to end up on your service page directly. And that's where content creation, that's the goal. That's what you're really doing. And you'll notice, as we go through, it's still showing your homepage. Give it some time.
No, it's not gonna.
It's not going to do it. You got to pay for that. But I'll give you an insight first. I do have a paid account in one of these to break it down for me. But generally speaking, they all work the same. Now, here's one of the key things. When you're writing content, this is your first base to start from. What does your website have? This works on what you post on social media. This also works on advertising. If you pay money, make sure the page they're going on has the same words, or else you're going to pay more. This is called relevancy. So if I do Facebook ads or Google ads to promote my content that I'm writing, I better make sure the ad has the same keywords as the landing page. When you go through this, one of the key things you're looking for is how often you're using the word. The negative way of doing this, I had a client very beginning that started learning about this, and they were selling baby stuff. I remember this. They had a warehouse here that sold a lot of baby stuff. I'm just going to say stuff for now because I'm running out of words. But here's the crazy thing. They had maternity as a popular keyword, right? Except they wrote it 62 times on their homepage. That's an overkill. Now what happens when you overkill is Google's ranking drops immediately for every extra word that you added. That's why people use this tool. They check if it's too dense. If you're adding too many of the same keywords over and over again, even though if it makes sense to a human being, it didn't in this scenario because it was an SEO hack, it doesn't work. So be very careful at how often you use the same word over and over again just because you're advertising it and you think people will search for it. This, I don't need to tell you that because this tool will tell you if you're using it too frequently. The meta description is something your site needs here. Now let's go into more important information. Your content will also have images. When you have images on your content, give them something called an alt tag. When I type in your brand name, let's say you're selling shoes. If I type in your brand name and your shoes pop up in the image search, Google doesn't automatically, they do have the tools to do this, but they don't automatically know which brand is which shoe. It's the alt tags. When you upload your photo, I'm not talking about what you call your photo. It could be 123.jpg. When you upload it, you'll have in any website or any tool the ability to give it a meta description. All of this is part of your content strategy. People don't see it that way. They're like, I just wrote some great article or great post. The image, this is not for Facebook. Facebook automatically tweaks it. You don't have the ability to write for Facebook, but you do for your website. Add the keywords in. If you don't know what to write what it's doing in the image or what it is with your brand name again. That's the hack. Include your brand name in every single image tag. No harm done. So just really quickly, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but usability. Now, this is probably not how your website looks like on mobile, or it is. I'm not sure yet, but more or less it should work like that. So do check, because these are the basic research tools that you need to start with. Now, what is the tool I really care about in this? Actually was here, except you put in every competitor's website, because it's going to yank out the words they use frequently. Try it. And use all the sites that I had on Google when I typed in free SEO analysis. If you're taking notes, just write that bit down. Free SEO analysis. Every free website will let you use it once per 24 hours. So use all of them, so they don't cache any information. So that's just one of the many ways to research. The other tools you're going to see here, just to give you an insight. You'll see that I've added in, not me, but they've added in keyword finder as well. Why are keywords so important is, unlike journalism, which is something I said earlier, in SEO and sort of content strategy, You're using buzzwords or keywords that are going to trigger someone. So when they search for it, they find you. That's one for SEO. Number two, the trigger words are, there are certain keywords when you're looking for something. Imagine, let's say I'm looking for baby clothes. Someone like me would type in buy baby clothes Hong Kong on Google. Now, if you know that's the word most likely going to be used, what is your call to action, the button that you're going to have on your website? Buy baby clothes now. Something like that. But people will go buy now. Little things in your content that are very important. That's why people come to me like, I've been writing great content, but nobody converts. I can't make any sales. That's why. Your main action points are missing. The buzzwords that they need to trigger them to buy it. And I will dive in deep now with that. Apologize if I go a little bit over today. Please do go through the list. They're well explained, and try them out. If you have any questions, just reach out to us or just get us on social media. We'll happily share back some information. So, how do you actually start creating content? These are the 3 most common contents you can do. Path 39, for example. We're running an event. It's automatic content for us. Why? Because people are now not only in this room knowing about it, but they're going to know about it all over social media and what we do. But all we're doing is sharing what the event was like. It's a soft sell technique. That's why I put in events and advertising. Advertising component. Have you guys seen, I'm just going to cover a little bit of this, but if you see the word boost post on Facebook, don't use it. Don't click on that blue button. Go to the ad manager and go through that process. It's better. Just a small hint there. But blog and article content. And then social media content. These are the 2 I'm going to focus on today. A little bit more. But here's some notes when you guys start creating content. And then we're going to look at content and break it apart so you can see it in action. This is assuming you're writing in English language. Plain English. What does plain English mean? Is we have a common saying in agencies when I used to work there. A lot more. They used to say, if a 7 to 10-year-old can read it, that's the reading grade you want to hit. Now, not possible for some people. For example, we had a panel the other day with a lady that does IV drips. Very technical, right? You're not going to stick something into your arm and go, it's just a drip. It's not. So, plain English, what I mean by that is make it approachable. Lawyers, bad at this, severely bad at this, but it's also part of how they make money. But not a dig there. But social media side, that's the best. Insurance companies, for example, use the same technique. Notice how insurance companies are making it so simple, almost as if you're downloading an app to buy, I don't know, like a clothing item. It's that easy to approach and read. That's where the industry is moving to. They're not getting dumber. It's just you have about 6 to 8 seconds to hit people nowadays. And the next generation after us is getting a lot less attentive in content as well. They have Snapchat on 24/7 and they're switching between apps. So there's very little time for you to engage with them. The executive tone is something I've had a massive battle over the years, working with different companies. When you're working in corporate sectors, this can be a problem because you're told to follow a standard of executive tone. But when I say conversationally, people take it the whole other way. I have major companies talking as if they're talking to kids. Like it now, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Don't do that. I'm not saying go that conversational. Conversational means here that it can be read in one sitting without having to re-look at the word. That's something that's very tricky. Let's take a content piece right now. I'm going to use baby clothes for a second. Here, let's see what shows up. Okay, mother care. Now, notice how I did not go to the homepage. I'm not going to the homepage. I'm directly in what I wanted. But what triggered Google to show me that first? I typed in baby clothes Hong Kong. Google knows it's under the side baby I didn't need to type in sleep suits or anything else. But everything else is categorized. Things like Hong Kong are on the page everywhere. And these are the little things in content. This is not a content piece. This is just content on your website. You haven't even started writing a blog article yet. Go back. Same search. Little Steps Asia. Now these guys know how to write blog articles quite effectively. Now, look for where baby and Hong Kong are. Baby clothes Hong Kong. But baby Hong Kong. Now, when I type in an article of item, like a shoe or clothes, I'm automatically going to tell Google that I'm shopping. That's what their algorithm is doing. So in that case, things like that help. Why didn't I see all the baby shops in Hong Kong online stores? I didn't. I saw content pieces automatically. These are just different articles. Now, if you're a baby clothing company, you're not going to write, here's where else you can buy baby clothes. But you can break it down. What is important about baby clothes? Why? What is the best clothing item a baby should wear? Does your baby have allergies? Don't wear this. These are articles that you can write. That's what I mean by conversational as well. Notice how when I was reading that sentence, I didn't stop. And get someone that doesn't speak English as a first language. It's always good to read that way. If someone in your team or friends and family do it, if you speak English fluently, and reverse, if you're writing Chinese content, if someone speaks Chinese and reads Chinese fluently, get someone who doesn't read it that well. And then when they read it, you'll see them stop at certain words. That's when you know it's not flowing. That's one way. The other way, there's other tools out there, like Grammarly, which give you grades on how well you're writing your content that's with readability. Grammarly is here. This is not on the deck, I apologize. This is something that came out as relevance. If you're new to writing content and you're worried, when we hire interns, for example, and if English is not naturally their first language and they have to write in English, I get them all to install Grammarly. It just helps them. Why give them a pain in the butt to go back and forth if they can just get help? My English is not, as you saw, perfect, so I use it too. And it's actually a great tool to make sure that you didn't make silly mistakes and sentences that shouldn't be written certain ways are corrected. If only the rest of, like say, the government website started doing it more, you wouldn't have those problems there. And that's one of the key things you got to watch out for. Grammarly is a great tool. It's free to start using, so use the free stuff. Now, this is where it got important. That's why I've bolded these items, because these are your key takeaways today. Provide a solution. What I mean by that is, let's say, for example, 10 best places to buy or to get digital consultancy, for example. That's my sentence, right? Provide a solution is telling a human mind to automatically go somewhere next or do something. So what that means is click now to get all 10, to get all the insight that you've been looking for example. Simple little words. But the click now created an automatic sense of urgency and click. Go home for the next 2 weeks and realize what you automatically click on, especially on Facebook. You will do it naturally and then you'll go, I just clicked on that because it told me to. And that's one of the key things you'll notice about digital marketing strategies that not many people talk about is sometimes you have to tell the human mind something obvious, like click here. Why? Because they're reading you next to about 7 other content. Inbound links. What does inbound links mean? Is basically you're effectively creating links within your own pages. For example, if I'm reading a content piece and I need to read about, you want to send them to some other service, make sure it's going between the pages. Many people will just make sure that they don't include that at all. It'll be like 1 page, 1 job, done. Actually, you can create some pages, like landing pages we call them, where they're reading something, let's say about baby clothes. They're reading something about a particular piece you wrote, link them back into different parts of your website. It could be other articles. If you have done this before, you will notice 30 minutes of your life disappeared because you were reading stuff and you just click, 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 click. All the popular content writers do this. These are called inbound links. Call to actions. I'm not going to talk about this because the next piece I'm going to actually digest it. You'll see it there. But the other thing I have to mention, I've seen this a lot in Hong Kong recently, urgency. Stop telling everyone every single content piece right now is while stocks last. It's right now, get it today. You can do that, but at moderation. What I mean by moderation is, at best, you can do it once a month. If every single piece you're writing in social media especially is one by one by one by one, the same thing, it loses the effect immediately. Now social media is different in a sense that you're not going to read it in a straight line. No one does that. No one visits your Facebook page. Forget about it. They visit their own wall and then it shows up that way. That's where you spend your time if you're looking at Facebook as an example. Urgency there is only used when they are going to interact a conversion. That's what it means. A conversion means you're sending them to buy something or to inquire now. Let's look at this for example. I chose this because it's not perfect, but it's also pretty good, which is going to be some of your content. You're not going to nail it every single time. Now, what they do, immediately, in a first glance, can someone tell me what this is?
Body wash.
Body wash. Someone like me didn't look at that and go, it's body wash. Not that I don't use body wash, but I had to read it. And that's one of the first things I want you guys to notice. The image is important, yes, but if I'm scrolling through this on a Facebook page, if I don't register in my brain immediately what it is, I'm not going to stop. But there's thousands of body washes. So let's see what they do. This is one of those popular posts that I'll tell you if you're doing a startup right now, those of you who are starting out, don't do this post ever in the first 6 months. You're not ready for a competition. You need engagement before you do competitions. But like this, if you love our new Dial Coconut Water and Skin Therapy Body Wash. Like is a call to action. People know it's Facebook. Of course you like stuff. But they've told your brain to automatically like it. So you go, oh yeah, that's nice. You will automatically like it. Now why do I care if they liked it or not? As soon as you liked it, your friends are going to have an opportunity to see it. That's how Facebook works, right? Enter. Another trigger word. Now this one's odd. It's not an action you can do. It's basically telling them what this link is going to do for you. Don't just put a link blindly. Today for a chance to win a bottle of each. Now in this case, they use something called a link shortener. If you're not aware of this, go to bit.ly.com. bit.ly.com. It's a great tool to use. You can track offline stuff too. So I don't know if there's any posters here. If there's any posters here with a QR code, we use bit.ly to track offline poster links as well, which is pretty powerful. The big action point here was click here as well for a chance to win these. Now, this is a gimmick. It's not text. If I click on anything here, it's a click. But notice how I made it feel like it's two different links and they've highlighted. Click here, win these. That's what your brain does. Now this is the hard part of content creation when you're writing, especially in social. Are you guys more looking for social media postings? Am I correct here? Just tell me if you look for more detailed blog posts. But if it's more social, the trick here was, it's the big line that you have in your image. Now, automatically, if you try to advertise or boost post, it'll get rejected. On Facebook, you can only have 20% text in your images. The image here, even dial, is text. So be careful with what you choose as your images. Use this for organic and free posting. Click here for a chance to win these. You highlight not always the click part. You also highlight words after the most important word. Because your brain automatically, when reading these, will read win. No matter if you read this way or that way, normally. The clear direction to the audience is important. My opinion, I'll chop the bottom off. It's the most pointless piece of that image. No one's going to read it. But branding. You sometimes don't have a choice. So does everyone get the idea of that? Any questions so far? Okay, perfect. We can go on. So, when we start creating content, we follow a 80-20 rule. Everyone, when I tell them, hey, don't just post about your stuff, they go like, but what do I post about? Here's some ideas. The 80-20 rule works especially, it's very powerful when you're in your first 2 years in a new country, for example. And what I mean by new country is if you're expanding, if your business expands to a different country, you got to start all over again because it's localized, right? So the key word here is going to be relevant. Who is it relevant to? It's not your business. It's relevant to your audience. If you can connect your service or your product to an audience doing something else, like hiking, big thing in Hong Kong, use it. Because it's relevant to someone that goes hiking a lot. How can I connect body wash to hiking? I'll leave you guys to figure that out. But the easy way is go hiking right now. You will need body wash. But the other part is news. Many people get stuck here because if I tell you to post every single day, sometimes you can just post news about the industry. If any of you are doing fintech, for example, fintech is a whirlwind of news articles every day. The law firm that I mentioned I work with a couple of times, this is recently in my memory right now because I've engaged with them again. But news for them was the easiest way to capture clicks. They wrote what their team thought about what's happening and what people can look for advice in. Now, if you're building a product or you're launching a product or you work for a company that does the same thing, you're the expert. You know things about the industry and an angle that nobody else knows. For example, if you're selling oranges, very hard, right? Like you're like, what the hell do I post about that people don't already know about, right? What is news about oranges? Have you guys ever heard of, like let's say a place like Mana? Anyone eat there? Find out where the oranges are sourced, and that's your news. Which country they come from, why they chose that country. Mana has a blog post now, all about just oranges. And people will click. You will click on it if you eat there. No matter how much you don't care about oranges, you will click. Because you're like, And the best way to do something we call clickbait, this is the tagline that goes with your content, is tell people just enough information on the title. Do not give it away. Where do we source our oranges? Let's do a deep dive and interview XYZ person. And that's a full content piece about oranges at Mana, which has nothing to do with sales, but it does at the same time because you care about their philosophy. That's why you eat there sometimes. Pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000% more importantly when you start your company as well as in the first few years of your company. If you're an established organization, you might already know this. The money you will spend taking pictures might be phenomenally high. Stop taking professional pictures only. People like social media to be a little bit more raw. You're going to get more attention in the world that looks like this. This isn't going to work on social media that easily. You might need to shove it in your website when you're starting. It's fine because you don't have time. But here's the thing. No picture is that clean. So if you're going to take stock photos, use the ones that don't look staged as much as possible. And you will get more engagement automatically. So how am I doing the time? I am taking a lot of time, so I'm going to move forward. So blog posts are important. Business tools that you use in your business. Things you might have found like, hey, we use this to find this. Share that and you will see a massive engagement. Testimonials are huge. Now, about testimonials and business tools, how they work on content strategy is not just tell this person, here's an article about everything they wrote about us, which is great. It's more about every service. Every time you mention a service, for example, about what they were talking about, create a link to the service.
Sorry, can you explain that?
Yeah, sure. For example, let me just pull up. I am a coder, so excuse that I'm using coding editor. But okay, for example, I'm gonna say, do you have a service industry by any chance?
Yeah.
What is it?
Brand strategy.
Brand strategy. Awesome. So, ignore the spelling. I'm gonna type this really quick. But effectively now, I'm gonna say, let me just go back here. I'm going to say XXX with the name. For example, this was your short testimonial, right? Enhance it. Then you go, I'm just making stuff up at this point. But you'll see what I mean here. Now, that's the first stage.
So XX, the second XXX
Is the same person. Yeah, is a client name. The idea here is the testimonial is going to be very flat and blunt, right? I'm going to take it into a story mode. Because whenever people give testimonials, you can do copy paste, and done, right? Job done. But if you start spinning it up a little bit more, make it into a story that you're telling, it's as if, this is the way I see it in my head, but if I'm sitting at a bar and I want to tell someone like, oh my God, this client said this, and then we did this for them, and that's how they did it. Recreating a logo, link to a portfolio. Service name here. That's another link. The trick to content creation is always yanking out ways to send people somewhere else. Sorry, yeah, it's a bit zoomed in, but we need to. It's kind of like an example. So with that, does that make sense to everyone so far? Sorry, if
that would be on your website, not on social.
that could be on website, also social. First, you put it on your website, and then you link that page onto social, and then you write a catchphrase again to get them there. On social media, you don't need to because there's no links in between words that easily, or at all in social media. Then you just clip the most exciting part. Change my business forever. Find out what we did for her, for example, would be the catchphrase on social media.
What's the business tools?
Business tools is like, you know how I mentioned Grammarly? An easy way here is if you're a new startup. Startup is a big phase, a buzzword right now in Hong Kong. Take a picture of today, for example, if you did, and then post it on your social media saying, great to learn about Grammarly. We're going to start using it in our team, blah, 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 blah. It has nothing to do with your product, but it's creating a little bit more of personality of what you're doing. And that's only if your business is singular. It works better that way. We do it a lot. We change every word to we. So we love Grammarly. Big shout out, da 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 da. It's not like you're getting paid for it, so tone it down a little bit. But just make it something like you're passing on knowledge. The better stuff is when it's related back to your industry. So the distribution part, I'm almost done. Sorry guys for stretching so long. But I'll be quick. Twitter is impossible to use, I thought, in Hong Kong, until I started an education business and realized every teacher on the planet is on Twitter. And that's about it. Like, nothing else works except Twitter. So be wary of your audience. Just because you're in Hong Kong, your audience might not be working the same way. So Facebook is more about referral traffic than any other social platform. This is now true for Instagram as well, because they work in harmony together because they bought it. But effectively, referral traffic means go to your Google Analytics and you will realize a lot of that tab where it says referrals or acquisition is coming from Facebook. Why? Because your call to actions are supposed to all go back to the website. No one on Facebook reads shit on Facebook. Every time you click on anything on Facebook, you're going to someone's website. And if you do a normal post, see this picture, you're using it to tag other people on the picture. That's the only way in a business account. If I took a picture here, which I'm not allowed to do, don't worry. If I took a picture here and tagged all of you, I just got a bunch of hits because all your friends saw it automatically. That's the only way a business can tag a human being. You can't use the @ sign for humans, right? Future emphasis is on video. Right now, if you create short videos, even if it's a selfie mode video, it's going to be the most powerful thing right now this year because Facebook is having a lovely war with YouTube, which means they're going to promote the hell out of all the video stuff. If you advertise as well for video content, right now it is the cheapest way to advertise. Don't have a video? Make a slideshow and turn it into a video with music. But okay, that's not the best video. It's just if last case scenario, use a slideshow. That's very Facebook for you. They have a feature called Facebook Live. Live content is the most powerful content right now. Immediate engagement, automatic engagement. Hardest thing to convince anyone in your team or yourself to do. Trust me, be there. But it is one of the most powerful tools. Instagram, it's all about visual, but here's a trick. Stop putting text all over your Instagram images. Unless you're doing a simple let's say a quote, those work, but not that frequently. Images with people's faces, even if it's not you or related to your business, are going to be more powerful. If you can do videos on Instagram, especially on Facebook as well, they autoplay now. What that means for your video right now is the first 4 seconds have to be the most exciting part of your video. So stop starting your video with a giant sign of your logo and then it switches to the actual video. Start the video there and then. Facebook lets you tweak which part to show first. Pinterest, a lot of, for the mother side of it, definitely use Pinterest. It is huge. If you're in jewelry, use Pinterest. If you're in any form, Pinterest has about a 65 to 70% right now female to male ratio, which is quite interesting. So if you're targeting female market, it is a powerful tool. It's a highly visual platform. This is where you also put the top 10 things. You know the links thing? You can do it in graphical format. Use tools like Canva, Canva, to help you create stuff like Facebook posts, any social media posts at a click of a button. They even have templates you can drag and drop your own image, so you don't have to do anything. And they'll give you the perfect size every single time. Okay, so that's an idea. By the way, the Google Plus thing is just if you use it. If you have a retail store in Hong Kong, if you have a physical store, use Google Plus. Post stuff there because it's related to your Google reviews. For example, the gym I mentioned earlier, Google reviews is skyrocketing for them. It's increased customer engagement by over 50% in a month, in a single 30-day period. And Google Plus is where you post all your videos and so on. Who cares about Google Plus? No one. Trust me, no one cares. But it's the only search engine that's integrated with Google Search. That's the technical bit you need to know about. LinkedIn's great for B2B, but I've left all the notes here. I'm not going to read every sentence out loud. Definitely go through it. For the sake of time, I'm going to move ahead to my last component that is a giveaway as well. Here's an idea of how you guys can start structuring your blog. It's broken down by week. A little hint for you guys, I literally write one blog post a month. Even at a size of 42 people sized company, or even 4 people company. Robbie at the back there is amazing at writing blog articles. I think he writes all of our blog articles and everything in that document. So one of the key things there is deadline. This is for self-motivation, trust me, it's very important. But, I'm kidding, this is important, but not the most important. Target audience is the most important. Have 4 target audiences for your content. If you don't have them, start today. Just write down 4 different type of people that you can section. It's, for example, in a strategy piece, it would be people that like to go to healthy food places. Target audience. Because from there, you're going to start creating all the different type of content that attracts them. Why I say start with 4 at least, is you're going to split those 4 into the different type of postings you have. Because how do I write posts about my business every single day? You don't. You write it targeting a particular customer segment. If you do that 4 times, you cover a week already. I'm not saying you must post 7 times a day. Right now on Facebook, in fact, go backwards. Post once a week and make it really good is more impactful right now than posting every single day. If you're a new startup, it's a brand new Facebook page, flood it a little bit. Because Facebook does require a little bit of legacy content that has got engagement in order for your new postings to start reaching out. And sake of time, I think I have completely run out of time. I'm going to open up to questions now, if you guys have any.